Hi, welcome to one of a series of short Reader's Guide films from Plainfield Public Library's Reference Department. We hope you'll enjoy this reading guide for a subgenre of books. The following books are just a sample of what the library offers. You'll find a link to a printable PDF version of this guide in the description of this video. All the titles are available for free with your library card in a variety of formats. Please see the individual title listings for details. If any of the books interest you and you want to find out more, or if you have any other inquiries, you can speak with the librarian on 908-757-1111 extension 112 or email ref@plfdpl.info. If you want more time to read about a book on screen now as you watch, just hit pause. Now, please enjoy our Reader's Guide. We hope you find it useful. Epic fantasy fiction. Heroic quests, overwhelming odds, and the struggle against evil are all hallmarks of epic fantasy. Set in vividly realised fantasy worlds, these fantasies encompass panoramic struggles, often across several volumes. A classic example is the Lord of the Rings trilogy by J.R.R. Tolkien. So let's begin with The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. The dark, fearsome ringwraiths are searching for a hobbit. Frodo Baggins knows that they are seeking him and the ring he bears, the Ring of Power, that will enable evil Sauron to destroy all that is good in Middle-earth. Frodo and his friends must begin a perilous journey to defeat Sauron. This is book number 1 of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. A Game of Thrones by J.R.R. Martin. This is book number 1 of the epic Song of Ice and Fire series. In this opening novel, the aristocratic Stark family faces its ultimate challenge in the onset of a generation-long winter, the poisonous plots of the rival Lannisters, the emergence of the never-born demons, and the arrival of barbarian hordes. The Last Dark by Stephen R. Donaldson. This is book number 4 of The Last Chronicles of Thomas Covenant series. Thomas Covenant and Lyndon Avery reunite and discover their true power in each other before considering a magical sacrifice to stop the Worm of the World's End. The 3 sets of Thomas Covenant Chronicles began in 1977 with the title Lord Foul's Bane and ended in 2013 with The Last Dark. The Last Druid by Terry Brooks. This is book number 4 of the Fall of Shannara series. It also concludes the entire Shannara fantasy epic that began in 1977 with the title The Sword of Shannara. In The Last Druid, amid the war-torn Four Lands, a group of heroes organises to defend the region while one carries world-changing technology to the Scar homeland and another becomes trapped in a deadly realm. The Women's War by Jenna Glass. When a world-altering spell gives women the ability to control their own fertility, a disinherited princess and a powerless queen trigger changes in their patriarchal kingdoms before a caravan of exiles stumbles on a new source of women's magic. This is book number 1 of the Women's War series. The Queen of Innislear by Tessa Grattan. This is book number 1 of the Queens on Innislear series. A fantasy inspired by Shakespeare's King Lear depicts a once bountiful isle decimated by a prophecy-obsessed king's erratic decisions, where 3 rival princesses prepare for a war that will determine their realm's leadership and survival. Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. This is book number 1 of the Dark Star trilogy. Hired to find a mysterious boy who disappeared 3 years before, Tracker joins a search party that is quickly targeted by deadly creatures. This will appeal to fans of Afrofuturism and Afrofantasy. The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. This is book number 1 of the Inheritance trilogy. After J.R.R. is summoned to the majestic city of Sky and named an heiress to the king, she is thrust into a vicious power struggle with cousins she never knew she had, drawing her ever closer to the secrets of her mother's death and her family's bloody history. This will appeal to fans of Afrofuturism and Afrofantasy. The Raven Tower by Anne Leckie. The kingdom of Iradin, under the protection of a god known as the Raven, faces unrest and challenges from invaders when a usurper takes over the throne and discovers that the Raven's power is weakening. Jade City by Fonda Lee. This title is a part of the Green Bone saga, book number 1. Green Bone warriors use the magic-enhancing powers of Jade to protect their island nation of Kekon and its capital, Janloon. But times are changing as rival syndicates clash in this East Asian-inspired fantasy world. Jen Lyons, The Ruin of Kings. Raised on storybook tales of royal adventure, Kirin discovers his identity as the illegitimate son of a treasonous prince and is rendered a pawn in the royal family's power schemes before embracing his anti-hero destiny. This is book number 1 of the Chorus of Dragons series. The Tiger's Daughter by K. Arcedo Rivera. As the border walls of the Hokaran Empire begin to crumble, the two young warriors, having grown up across borders since their prophesied birth and using a power that can reach through time and space, must save the world from the encroaching demons. This is book number 1 of the Their Bright Ascendancy series. Child of a Mad God by R.A. Salvatore. Eowyn, a witch's young daughter who was born under a fateful blood moon, finds herself alone in a tribe of vicious barbarians and dreams of escaping by learning to use the mysterious power known as the Song of Uskar. This is book number 1 of the Coven series. Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. Now, as new technological discoveries by Navani Colleen's scholars begin to change the face of the war, the enemy prepares a bold and dangerous operation. The arms race that follows will challenge the very core of the Radiant ideals and potentially reveal the secrets of the ancient tower that was once the heart of their strength. This is book number 4 of the Stormlight Archive series. 7 Blades in Black by Sam Sykes. Sal was betrayed by those she trusted most, and is now in captivity, stripped of her magic, and awaiting her execution on the order of the Emperor himself. All she has left is her vengeance, her will, and her weapons. This is book number 1 of the Grave of Empires series. Heartstone by L. Catherine White. This debut novel retells Pride and Prejudice in a world where creatures are dragons, hobgoblins, llamas and griffins are commonplace. Heartstone takes Austen's classic tale and turns it into something new, engaging and imaginative. A Taste of Honey by Kai Ashante Wilson. After meeting a handsome Delucan soldier, Akib Ben Sadiki, a fourth cousin to the royal family and son of the Master of Beasts, struggles with his family's expectations and the love he feels for Lucrio. This will appeal to fans of Afrofuturism and Afrofantasy. This is book number 2 of the Sorcerer of the Wild Deeps series. The Mountain of Kept Memory by Rachel Neumeier. Suspecting that his father has offended the Kiba, the world's last goddess, Prince Julien Madeleine enlists the help of his sister, Oressa, to keep their kingdom of Carastind safe from an invasion without the divine protection they had previously enjoyed. Beren and Luthien by J.R.R. Tolkien. This story describes the love of the mortal Beren and the royal elf maiden Luthien. Luthien's father agrees to their marriage, but only if Beren retrieves a Silmaril jewel from the crown of Melkor, the dark god who preceded Sauron as the embodiment of evil in Middle-earth. An Alchemy of Masks and Mirrors by Curtis Craddock. Born without the sorcery that is her birthright, but with a perspicacious intellect, Isabel believes her marriage will stave off disastrous conflict and bring her opportunity and influence. This is book number 1 of the Risen Kingdoms series. Blood and Sand by C.V. Vike. Set in ancient Rome, Blood and Sand reimagines Spartacus as a 17-year-old girl. When Attia is sold as a slave to the house of Timaeus, no one knows she's actually the warrior princess of Thrace and the last of her people. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms by J.R.R. Martin. This is a prequel to Martin's epic A Song of Ice and Fire series. It is set as a set of 3 novellas set almost a century before A Game of Thrones, and while the Targaryen line is still in power. It follows the adventures of Sir Duncan the Tall and his squire, a boy called Egg. This book belongs to the Tales of Dunk and Egg series, and contains the first 3 novellas of it. Starless by Jacqueline Carey. Trained as an elite warrior before learning a profound truth about his identity, Kai navigates the deadly intrigues of court before embarking on a quest to save his soul's twin.